The rumbling seemed to stop as quickly as it had begun. I had been clenching my eyes tightly closed the whole way up. The shaking was quite violent for several minutes. I suppose the engineers back home hadn't yet figured out how to make this whole process leisurely or comfortable. I wasn't quite sure whether I was ready, but nevertheless, I gathered my courage and peered out of the 12-inch wide port window in the side of my capsule to survey my surroundings. The stars appeared like millions of ink splotches on a dark canvas. The earth was a brilliantly vibrant shade of blue. I watched massive storms appear as bold white swirls on the body of a globe, and I saw the stark contrast between the night and the day from a place where those concepts were merely abstract. I saw my home and your home, even though I couldn't pinpoint precisely where we each lived upon it. Only then did it occur to me the vanity of hatred. How selfish and narrow-minded must we be to believe that our hate for one another is relevant, that we have any say in the matter, when there is an infinite lack of emotion, infinite nothing, infinite indifference above us, and indeed when there is a mass of blue and green love and sanctuary surrounding us. We are so hopeless to think that our hate might affect this expanse. Imagine, if you will, for a moment. Upon the map I was viewing at that moment, no borders were etched. I saw the enemies of the state from up here and realized there were no states. I saw those who did not believe in my God and realized we still share the same soil. In my view, at that time, was everyone I had ever hated or loved, everyone I had ever known. And I realized they would someday be gone from my life, but never gone from this home. The capsule spun slowly like a spit over a flame. And as it did, my view turned to that of the greatest of frontiers, the firmament and its guardian, the moon. I believe as I stared at her, she smiled at me, in a way. And much as she pulls the waves from the oceans towards the shores of our homelands, she pulled tides to my eyes as I felt her gravity upon me. Our lifeless but soulful guardian angel, slowly circumnavigating the earth just as I was. As my capsule turned once more, I stared down to the dark of the night that had befallen the other side of our home. I thought of all those calmly asleep, dreaming of the place where I was. And I thought of those that I had never met, who I'd been taught to hate, who now appeared more fragile than the clouds which concealed them. I wondered if the aspirations of those now unconscious below me had consumed them in their sleep, just as the image of them had now consumed me. In one fleeting instance, there was pain and hope. On one hand, I loathed the prospect of war. I resented those who built the machines to pollute and dull out our shared home. I was angered by the thought of destruction and the knowledge of aggression between men. And yet, I felt pride. Pride in my species for enduring our repeated self-immolations. Pride in my species for, at long last, sending one of their own to touch the stars. And I felt the burden of responsibility that had been placed on my shoulders as humanity's first ambassador to the great beyond. You see, I had never been so completely alone. And yet, in those moments, I wanted nothing more than to stay forever. It was peaceful and violent at the same time, in turns quiet and infinitely noisy. And just as I had come to terms with the beautiful, empty expanse I had inhabited in those brief moments, the descent began. And soon enough, I returned to our home, subordinate to this blue marble once again.